Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday, everybody. We are back again another Sunday for Chit Chat Podcast, where we chat all things women. Um, I am your host, Shadana, and it is so good to be back, guys. I know that last week we had a quick session last week, and we chatted for a bit, and Jada was gone, so she is back. Everybody, she had her birthday celebration and vacation time, so she back behind the scenes working, producing behind the scenes today. So mommy's glad to have her back. So but check in, chime in, and let me know who's checking in today. Good afternoon, happy Sunday to everybody, and happy Father's Day to all our fathers. I know that we do have some male listeners to our podcast. We do not discriminate, even though this is a platform for women. We do not shy away from our male listeners. So when you're out there listening to us, we welcome it. There might be some things that you guys can engage in on, and can chime in and chat with us on as well. And we welcome that anytime. So but welcome and happy Father's Day to you guys. If you're a dad, a bonus dad, a godfather, goddad, or whatever capacity that you represent fatherhood, we want to wish you the sentiments of happy Father's Day today, and hope that you're celebrating with your loved ones, and that your family is taking care of you like the king that you are, right? We hope certainly that this day is pleasant. We know that there are people who don't no longer have their fathers here, or have strained relationship with their fathers. So if this is a time that you guys can reflect on those moments, and there's things that you need to make happen, if your father is still here, and there's an opportunity that you can make things happen, I say do so. Life is too short to hold grudges and to have those things hanging in limbo. We have to let go and live our lives, hoping that every day is not promised to us, and that we live our life on purpose and full of life. So if that's you, do what you necessarily need to do to make it happen. And if there's situations where things are strained and you cannot do so, or whatever, we pray certainly that your healing process is taking place, and that that you get the necessary help and resources that you need to get through whatever journey, healing journey that you need. And those who have fathers who've gone and before us, and in glory in heaven or whatever, like my father, it's a tough time sometimes, but when you have those cherished moments with those loved ones like that, then it gives you an opportunity to think on those things. And so my dad, who was a wonderful dad, a very engaged and hands-on dad that was very like in touch with his family, a very family focused man, very in touch with his family, and loved his kids and grandkids, and would do whatever he can for anybody. And the community knew that, and those who was in the community would seek help for him for jobs and resources and things like that. So it makes me proud. So when Father's Day come up, I think of those great things about my dad. So and then I got his cheeks and all that kind of stuff. So I look at my face and I'll be like, yep, I'm his. But we do want to say happy Father's Day to you guys. Enjoy your day. But our episode today, we're going to be talking about the legacy and history of Juneteenth. So we do know that Juneteenth is celebrated on June 19th. and that is scheduled this week for us. And a lot of celebrations for Juneteenth actually started this weekend in a lot of different areas. I know here in DC, there were several Juneteenth events going on and kicking off Juneteenth celebrations. I know the White House is having a Juneteenth big concert, and with a great concert lineup. Biden did really good with the Juneteenth concert lineup. It's invitation only, though. It's going to be on the White House lawn, but great Juneteenth lineup for the White House Juneteenth concert. So various Juneteenth events going around in the area. So whatever area you're in, I'm pretty sure there's probably some type of Juneteenth event going on. Educate yourselves, get out there, go enjoy the events that are going on. And if people are putting on different Juneteenth events, in your area, and you've never been privy to knowing what it was about, what was going on, go check it out. That's what it's about. We just received Juneteenth as a national holiday 2 years ago. Biden put it into law and made it a federal holiday back in 2021. And so now it is, celebrated and recognized as a federal holiday. So, June 19th now, just like we have Martin Luther King holiday, is now scheduled on our calendars as a scheduled federal holiday and put into bill by law. So President Biden did that in 2021. So we are excited that we get to see that happen. And people were like, why on Juneteenth? Why is that? Why is that happening? We already, I hear a lot of people say, well, we already have July 4th. Well, Juneteenth is the celebration of the freedom of slavery. And so when we celebrate the July 4th celebration, it didn't necessarily incorporate the freedom of slavery during that time. And so when we look at the dates of the Emancipation Proclamation, the slaves wasn't free during the time that the Independence Day is celebrated, for the birth of America. So when you look at the freedom and the Independence Day, Black America or African Americans, Freedom Day or Independence Day is established when the Emancipation Proclamation was put into law on June 19th, 1865. So that's where we get our Juneteenth celebration from. And because people are starting to recognize what Juneteenth is and what it's about, and and starting to educate a little bit more about it, just like when we first had the MLK holiday celebrated, people were like, it's not it's what they would say is a day on, not a day off kind of thing. And so, people want you to be educated on why this is so important to have this holiday. Why is it so important to be celebrated or whatever and be recognized? So that's the same way about Juneteenth. It's important to have that recognition, knowing that Juneteenth should be celebrated with such recognition as a holiday, and with such recognition of showing independence of what our ancestors and the history and the legacy of our ancestors through slavery had brought. So yes, so that's what our topic is on today: the history and the legacy of Juneteenth. And because of that, I want you guys to chime in. What are some? Have you guys went out to see some events this weekend for Juneteenth? I know that again, the White House have an event going on for the concert. They're doing a concert on the White House lawn, but there's other different like events that I seen that was going on in different areas, Maryland and DC, different organizations that would, churches or whatever, having their own Juneteenth events. So, and I think my hometown, I read something on Facebook, my hometown was doing something this weekend. So I'm not sure what all that was and that all entailed. So anybody from Motown, chime in and let me know how that went. If anybody participated or went to that event, let me know how that went, because we need to start making sure that we show up for events such as these, because if they're making the importance of making Juneteenth a holiday and giving us the recognition of that, we got to make these things important for us to show up and participate. That's important. And knowing your history and knowing the legacy of things such as Juneteenth is very important too. Not just to say I have the day off, it's a holiday. Oh, it's a holiday. We're off that day. But why are you off that day? Why was it established as a holiday? Let's talk about that. Why was it established as a holiday? Slavery was important during that time back then, and thankfully, because we had a president during that time who was not biased and who made sure that even though the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, a lot of states was not trying to ratify it. And so they weren't trying to, abide by what President Lincoln had put in place. So you had like states like Texas and Kentucky that, took forever to ratify the Emancipation Proclamation. And so they were still holding their slaves, and not freeing them. And so, and that's a mentality that a lot of a mental mentality, you can say, that we can look at it in a perspective that sometimes we're in bondage, and not because we're physically in bondage. We're in bondage because our minds won't think about the freedom and the freedoms that we have, because we're stuck in the places that we feel like we can't go, we can't do, or whatever. Oh, I'm a small town girl. I can't go do that. I can't be in those big places. I can't leave my little hometown and go such and such and such. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. And let me tell you this quick story. So I was in a class, and I think I shared this not too long ago. I was in a class not too long ago, and in the class, we had to give her a quick introduction of ourselves. And in the class, we was telling like who we are, where we from, and all that kind of stuff. And then one person in the class said they was from Moultrie, Georgia. And I was like, wait, hold on. Nobody's ever from Moultrie. So, I'm like, stop the press. And I found out this girl was from Moultrie, and I'm like, I'm from Moultrie. So had no idea who she was. She knew my sister. She knew, some people I knew. So we was like, okay, we got to talk or whatever. Doing the same kind of job, budget analyst or whatever, in the same department, in different, the same. We both work for Homeland Security, but in different departments. And so, and it was just so, small town, like small as Moultrie is, here we are in this, class, and we find ourselves finding each other in this class. And, so we stayed in touch. She recently came up, to do her job up here, to meet with her job. She works remote, so she had to come up and do some things for her job here. And so we met, had dinner, physically met in person, because we had never met in person. We had just talked from, talking from the class, online, and then talked via Facebook, but we had never met in person. So we met, had dinner or whatever, cool person or whatever from my hometown. And she was walking me back to the parking garage where I had parked. And we was walking down DC streets, coming from our dinner spot. I'm walking to the parking garage, and she was like, "Can you imagine two girls from small Moultrie, Georgia, in here in DC doing big things?" And it's just like, can't even imagine. Like, had you probably told me that when I was a little girl, I probably been like, "What? Huh? No." But and because we don't like just say, ha, we doing all this and this and this, kind of thing, people don't know. But just, us having that moment, walking down the city streets of DC, the nation's capital, and we're two small hometown girls from Moultrie, Georgia, working up there, doing, big jobs, and just having that moment. I thought it was just such a, it was one of those moments where I think our ancestors would have been very proud. And it was, and that's what Juneteenth is about. That's what Juneteenth is about. When we're talking about history and legacy, it's talking about all those things that our ancestors and those before us who struggled for their freedoms, for the things that we can do now, and the things that we have the opportunity to see and do and have now. It's based off all the things that they endured back then. So, we can't be who we are if it wasn't for who they were. So I am forever grateful. I get teary-eyed. I get I get emotional when I think about the things my mom endured, my grandmother, just, my elders and people, just the things that I knew that they had to endure. And so, the audacity, the audacity that you have, like you have to make it. You have to do well. You have to, there's no way I was not going to do well, because my mom worked too hard for me and my sisters, for me not to excel, for me not to do well. The least I could do was come home with honor roll, with straight A's. That's the least I could do. And so I did that. And so when that happened, and other things I wanted to do, I tried to excel in other things, because I never wanted my mom to have the pressure of thinking what, she needed to worry about trying to do this, worry about trying to do this, worry about trying to do this, and worry about trying to do this. I wanted to make sure if I did something that I did it well. And I only did it well, I excel in doing that. And that's what, when we're talking about history and legacy, when you're talking about a legacy, that's what legacy is. What are we doing to establish for what are we doing to establish right now for what we're doing for our future and for those coming behind us? I know right now I'm looking at my two, and I know that I want some big things for my children, and I've prayed over their lives since they've been babies. I've even prayed for their spouses. So since they were babies, if I've already spoke into existence, God, this is what I want for my children. This is what I want for their lives or whatever. And when I can see the fruits of my labor, of me praying and fasting for them over the years, and seeing, things work well for them doing well, resources being available for them, doors opening for them, opportunities being available for them. Those are prayers. Those are seeds that have been planted, for years ago when they was infants, and I was praying and fasting and asking God and seeking God for those things for them. And now some of those things are being manifested now. And that's what legacy is. Some of us are living off of prayers of our grandmothers, of our mothers, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, or whatever. I know that I am definitely living off the prayers of Irma McClendon. If you ever if you ever had opportunity to know my grandmother, if you lived in Moultrie, Georgia, and on First Avenue in Moultrie, Georgia, you knew that lady was nothing but a Jesus lover. And if you ever had a conversation with her, you gonna have an encounter with her and Jesus if you had a conversation with her. And so there was never a moment that I didn't talk to my grandmother that she did not talk about her love for Christ and how she represented him, and she represented him well. And so I knew that if I needed to advocate for anything in my life, for anything that I needed to do, if I needed advice, wisdom, or whatever, I knew who I needed to go to, because I knew she had a direct line to him, and I knew that her prayers was gonna go, straight to him. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I knew, that's legacy, and even though she's gone, and her prayers that she's done over the years, I'm still living off of those. I'm still moving off of those, and those are the kind of things that, we have to establish when we're talking about legacy and leaving legacy, and not only just like when you're talking spirituality, we're talking, legacy when we're talking finances. We don't want to leave our children in debt, right? So we got to start having the mindset of not being enslaved in our minds about what we can do and what we can establish. I think I seen an article the other day where it says Bootsy, the little rapper and actor Bootsy, he bought some more land, and he's been trying to establish land, like a certain amount of acres of land for his children. I think he wants to have like a 80 some acres for his children. I don't know how many children he has, but that's his plan. That's, he want his children to be able to have land and property or whatever. So and have that established. That's legacy. That's what you do. That's legacy. When you make plans and establish things, for the future, and for those who are behind you, that's legacy. And that's what we have to do. A lot of our ancestors, they didn't have that in their thought process, but what they was doing, it was establishing ways for us. So it was creating legacy. It was creating plans for us. But here we are at that point where we can build off of that and continue to create legacies. And that's what I need you guys to do. Create legacies. That's important. That's important for your lineage, for your family lineage, and for you, especially if you have children. It's vital. It's vital if you have children, because you want to make sure that your children have an opportunity to, when you leave this world, that your children have an opportunity to enjoy the fruits of your labor, and as well as continue to carry on the legacy of whatever that you have established. And I love it. I love the fact that my mom didn't have much, and when she worked a job, it didn't pay her much, and she did the best she could with what she had, and she took care of all 5 girls with no problems. And I have no idea. Look, I still have no idea how she did it. It had to be on a wing and a prayer. But everything I do for her. Like when if I get an award or whatever, I'm acknowledging my mother, because my mother didn't pass high school for, for her, her and her siblings, most of her siblings, they didn't graduate high school. They went into the workforce early because it was a big family. They had to go start working, establishing families, that kind of things. And so, I wanted to make sure that everything that I did, it was in recognition of my mother. So I had I think it was probably a few months ago. I don't think I've even told anybody yet. I think I told my sister, but a few months ago, I had an interview for Who's Who. I think it was Who's Who in Leadership. Was it Leadership, Jada? Mm-hmm. It was Who's Who in Leadership, and I have no idea who. Somebody they said somebody from my job. I don't know if it was it couldn't have been my current job because I had just got here. So it had to be somebody from my previous job nominated me or whatever. And so I was baffled. I was definitely surprised. But I did the interview or whatever, long interview or whatever. And at the end, she said that you'll get published in this Who's Who leadership like encyclopedia book, and you'll have that. It'll be nationally published. You'll be able to purchase. You can purchase that. Somebody, your family members can purchase that or whatever, and you have an opportunity that you can do your publication as a memorial to someone. Right. So absolutely, with no thought, I said, yeah, I want to dedicate this to my mother, because everything that I have done has always been because I said, God, if you would give me at least half the strength that my mother had, providing and taking care of her kids, I know that I can get through life, with that. And he's given me a double portion of that. And so, and because of that, and because I wasn't even expecting this award, I was like, yeah, I need to publicate. I want this to be published, and I need my mother's name attached to this. So my mother is nationally published, and it's going to be nationally published with me honoring her based off of my leadership abilities and being recognized. And I wanted to do that because, I'm her I'm part of her legacy. And then because of that, when my kids, open that book or show that book to their kids someday, they're going to say, this was your great grandmother, this was your grandmother, or whatever. And they'll be able to see and show that as well. And so I wanted that established and published so that it will be shown, and that my mother name will be put on there, because I'm, if she never thought that she'd done anything worthy of her name being published for anything outside of an obituary, I wanted that to be published for her. So that's legacy. So when we're talking about legacy, those are the things that you have to establish when you're thinking about things of history and legacy. And so we're talking about Black Independence Day. A lot of things happen for Black Independence Day. For Juneteenth, you got the festivals, you have parades, you have different celebrations or whatever. I've seen that a lot of, I was researching a lot of this, and it said a lot of the foods for Juneteenth is, they still do the red, white, and blue colors that represents, independence. And the red is the main focus colors, because the red hibiscus flower is the main flower from Western Africa. So that's the symbol for Juneteenth. So it's like a So red is kind of like this, I guess the color, the main color. So you'll see a lot of red food during Juneteenth, like red velvet cakes. They said strawberry soda is popular during Juneteenth. Strawberries and strawberry soda. What else they said? A lot of barbecues, of course. We do a lot of the barbecues for everything, anyways. But then you'll see like the when you talk about the red hibiscus flower or whatever, when we discussed that, I was thinking about that when because it said Western Africa was like the I guess the like location where slavery, where they pulled the slaves from when they brought them to America. And so that's where the establishment of slavery, kind of started. And so I started there with some research. So because we live in Virginia, like we live in the state of Virginia, Virginia was the main port for slave porting and slave trade. So it was the main like hub of them bringing in slaves through and transporting them and trading them up and down this whole East Coast. So Virginia, I think it was Virginia and Maryland. What I said, Virginia, Maryland, and Virginia, Maryland, and Kentucky were some of the main states that were provided with big slavery trades. And you had states up north who also participated in it, but were not part of the Confederacy. Let's see. Oh, and this was some interesting facts that I found out. This is history stuff because we're talking about history and legacy. So history fact that I found out, it says that California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii never allowed slavery in their states. So they never allowed it. That gives me so much respect for those states. Never allowed slavery. So California, Oregon, Washington State, and Hawaii never allowed slavery. Never. So my whole thought process is, if those states never allowed slavery, then why did the other states do it? Because if they said no, then I'm sure the other states could have said no as well. So I guess it was a benefit for the other states when they allowed it. I guess it was a benefit for them. But much respect to California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii for not allowing it. When I read that, I was like, wow. Yeah. That's impressive. That's impressive. And it said on there that they was trying to force California to accept slave trades and slaves, but President Lincoln blocked it. So, y'all can say what y'all want to say about Abe, but I like Abe. Everything that I've read about him in the history books, I liked Abe. I liked him. Yeah, Virginia is the first state that the slaves was allowed to that slaves were allowed to, and it was one of the national trade ports for slavery. It was also the establishment of the Underground Railroad that was created for escapes of slavery. Other states included in the Underground Railroad that was established along that route was Kentucky, Virginia, Maryland, and let's see what else we got. Y'all wrote all kind of notes on here. Kentucky, oh y'all, Delaware held on to their slavery. It said Delaware held on to their slavery the longest, and they did not want to ratify the 13th Amendment, and they didn't do so until 1901. Now, it's if the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery was done in 1865, and they did not ratify their stuff to 1901, why y'all didn't hold them in contempt? Because I'm like, from 1865 to 1901, I would have held their butt in contempt. Like, what's going on, Delaware? What's y'all problem? Get with the program. So yeah, Delaware. Got me thinking twice about that state. But yeah, so some more history stuff. Yeah, some of the foods again. Let's see. The strawberry fruit and the red soda and the strawberry soda. It pays homage to the African culture and the African ancestors. The red color signifies resilience and bondage. It symbolizes the bloodshed by the enslaved West African ancestors. So that's why the red is like the symbolized color for that. Okay. See. Oh, here's another interesting history fact that I found out as well. I'm like, look, y'all, all y'all got to do is read stuff. If you read stuff, you're going to find so much stuff out. I was reading this stuff and I was like, oh my goodness. So Mississippi, y'all already know Mississippi is cricket. I'm just not a fan of Mississippi. And you know how Brett Favre stole them folks' money. I'm already Mississippi. Yeah, I'm already looking at you like sideways. And yeah. Y'all still stuck. One of those southern states is still stuck and need to get unstuck. But anyways, Mississippi. It says Mississippi did not officially ratify the 13th Amendment until February 7th, 2013. They had been gone all these years since 1865 without no proof that they had ratified the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery. The whole time, Mississippi had fell under the radar. They could have legally said, "Oh, we could still have some slaves," because we ain't signed nothing. We ain't abide by nothing. Y'all, they didn't officially have their ratification officially put into law until February 7th, 2013, from 1865. 1865 to February 2013. Come on, Mississippi. What were y'all thinking? Seriously. Were y'all trying to do some stuff? I don't like how that sounds. At all. At all. 2013. The 21st century. And that was from 1865. Do better. Do better, Mississippi. Do better. But what y'all think, y'all? Some of this history stuff is woo. Some of this stuff would be it'll make you mad reading some of this stuff. And states that you wouldn't even think about, when you read the history and stuff, states you wouldn't even think about that, have little significance or whatever. Vermont was the first state to They was the first state to get rid of slavery. Vermont, y'all, like Vermont. Nobody ever talks about Vermont. What happens in Vermont? Like Vermont? Gosh, we think of like certain states be so insignificant, but that was big. We're gonna be the first. We're gonna get rid of this. We're gonna be the first. So I thought that was big to kind of make that acknowledgement, because nobody ever talks about Vermont. Like who talks about Vermont? Nobody's ever heard, what goes on in Vermont. So I thought that was some good history to throw out to you guys. But yeah, I'm excited though. I'm glad that President Biden did sign the federal law in June of 2021, making this a holiday. But guys, because it's a holiday, we do need to make sure that we're actively trying to, educate ourselves and get out there and participate in some of these events and things that are going on to make sure that, not only if we're educating ourselves, we're educating our children. Some of our kids don't even know what Juneteenth is about. They'd be like, Juneteenth, what is that? It's our Independence Day. It's African Americans Independence Day, because had we not had it, we would have never we would have never been free. So yeah, it's our Independence Day. I remember I had first bought up a July 4th t-shirt, and it scratched off July 4th. And it put June 19th on mine. And it says, because I wasn't free during that time. So of course I wasn't, but the context of what it was saying. But because my people weren't free then. So you want me to celebrate July 4th, but that wasn't freedom for us then. Our freedom didn't come till after 1865, and then some of us still weren't free because some of these states were still tripping and trying to hold our slaves hostage after the Emancipation Proclamation had already been declared. Like, ratify that and free those people, and they didn't want to do that. Texas and all them old crazy states didn't want to do that. Still want to hold those slaves hostage, and because of that, that's where we get that. That's where we get that term slave mentality, where people are like being held hostage, sometimes mentally, because they're not free in their thinking process. They're not free in like how they think they should be able to do certain things, or be able to have affordability to certain things or whatever. So we got to break free of that, people. We have the same opportunities as everybody else. I know that there's still some disparities. There's still some things that we still got to work through or whatever, but and some biases, some prejudices, we still working through those things. However, let's not give them anything that can red tape us any longer. I've always been an advocate to my kids that, they can't take your education. They can't take what's here. So, what you got here, it can never be taken away. So nobody can never take away your wisdom, your intellect, none of that kind of stuff. They can try to take away the things, titles, or whatever they want, but the intellect and the wisdom and the things that you have internally, that can never be taken away. So and how well you work, how hard you work, or whatever, things like that can never be taken away. Hard work beats talent every day. Hard work beats talent every day. I'm telling you. You can go out there and get somebody that will work a 9 to 5, 80 hours and we'll do it with, 7 days a week, and somebody out there that, trying to finesse the system or whatever. Hard work is going to be talent every day. Every day. And you give me a hardworking person, I'll teach them whatever. As long as they're going to work hard, I'm going to teach them whatever. I don't need nobody finessing me. I don't need, talents and all that. I don't need nobody finessing me. Give me hard work, because that's what I pride myself on. That's what I was brought up on. Hard work. That's what I seen my mom, hard work. That's what I seen at I seen that from my dad. He did masonry work, hard work. I mean, that's work. Hard work beats talent every day. Now, I'm not knocking nobody who's, who got the smarts and go sit behind a computer and make, millions of dollars. Do you, boo? If that's you and you got the means to do that, do that. But at the end of the day, I'm sticking with what hard work gonna do, and it's gonna always pave a way for people to have the opportunities that they need to have. Let's make sure that when we are, creating our legacies, and we're reviewing our history, and we're seeing the things and learning the things of our history and of our ancestors when it comes to Juneteenth and our independence or whatever. Let's make sure that we're prevailing against the constant injustices and the enslavement of our own people. Sometimes we're our own. We hold our own selves back. We're our worst enemies. Sometimes we're in competition with each other, and we shouldn't be. We should be more so trying to collaborate and work together, unify. We need to be thinking about creating Black Wall Street again. All that stuff was established when it was ruined and torn down and burnt down, because they didn't want us to have an empire like that. They didn't want Black America, and they didn't want us to have establishments like that. So we have to understand that it's power and unity. So when we work together and we unify like that, my gosh, I'm telling you, what everybody brings a piece of something to the table. What you bring to the table might be different what somebody else brings to the table. And and all that's pieces to the puzzle. All that works together. The Bible says all things work together for the good. So if we're working together for one, we got one common goal, all that's gonna work together for the good. So, let's stop tearing each other down, because there's so much history. There's so much richness in our history. There's so much, so much richness that we need to tap into, that we haven't even tapped into, that, that our ancestors didn't struggle and go through endure all that stuff, for nothing. They created ways and opportunities now for us, to establish legacies and to establish things. And we need to do something with it. We got to do something with it. We have to make sure that what we're creating for ourselves, for our future, for our families, that it's a legacy that we can be proud of. It's a legacy that we can stand up on or whatever. And in a history, and we want to have a strong history going forward, where we know where we've been, we know what we've endured, we know what we've gone from, and we know that we're not going to allow history to repeat itself. We see the things that are happening. We see the things in politics. We see the people in politics who's trying to turn the hands of time and turn things backwards or whatever. That's why it's important for you to know about voting, your voting rights, know about voting. Get out there, people, get educated. We're wasting too much time on unnecessary stuff and not on the important stuff. We got to get busy. We got to get busy about doing work that's necessary, about creating a legacy and enriching our history, that history won't repeat itself, because we're not trying to go back. And if we don't be careful, we'll have people in places, in high places, that will push the time back and pull us back, and we don't want that. So I need you guys to be actively out there participating and doing what you need to do, working together, working hard, establishing the things that you need to establish, not only for yourselves, but for your family, for your friends, and then collaborate with other people. Each one reach one and teach one. So, let's stop this crap mentality that, we all can't win. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And cheer each other on. It may not be my time to shine yet. Let me cheer my sis on while it's her time to shine. Because when it's my time to shine, I know I'm gonna have some extra hand clappings too. So let's stop, let's stop doing that. This is what our history and our legacy is about. Juneteenth, we need to be unified. We need to be setting an example. We need to be prevailing, because in order for us to prevail with the richness of history that we have, and to provide the legacies that we want to have for ourselves and for our family, we got to establish some things in unity. So I hope that you guys had an opportunity to learn a few little things about Juneteenth that you didn't know. And I hope it kind of pushed you to go read some more and find out some more things about Juneteenth. I just want to highlight a few things on the legacy, and then on history for Juneteenth. But if you have some celebrations and some events that's coming up for Juneteenth, make sure you go check them out. So and tell us about it. When you guys go check out things, share with us. Y'all know I love to hear about stuff when you guys go and do stuff and special events like that, because I really, really, really love it. I know my hometown is real big on like Black history stuff, and anything related to that. We used to have a Miss Afro pageant. That was my favorite thing, y'all. I was Miss Afro 1994. And so me and my sisters, we all was in the Miss Afro pageant. So I think me and my baby sister are the only two that won Miss Afro. But yeah, I was Miss Afro 1994. And I'm telling you, those things like that is because it is built off of culture. And so when you do and participate in things like that, you don't ever forget it. You don't ever forget it. And I when I tell you, I won't ever forget my experience being in the Miss Afro pageant, watching my sisters that were older than me when they did the Miss Afro pageant, and me saying, "Oh, I can't wait till I can do the Miss Afro pageant." And then when I did the Miss Afro pageant for the first time, I won, and I was like one of the youngest girls in there at the time. And I was in there with high school girls, and I think I was in junior high when I won it. And so just having the opportunity to compete and do those things. It was a scholarship pageant, so I was able to get a scholarship from it or whatever. So those are legacies. Those are things that is established and created in places like that people won't forget. So I won't ever forget the Miss Afro, just because that had a impact on me. Not only financially with me helping me to get to college, but it had an impact on me as far as me remembering, about, the heritage and the culture and the things that I learned participating and watching my sisters, in the pageant as well. So, so go participate in Juneteenth and all those events that comes up or whatever. I'm telling you, you're gonna learn some things. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna feel proud being around your folks. Enjoying the atmosphere or whatever, and have a sense of unity. So I look forward to hearing some of the events that you guys participated in. If you're in the DMV area, again, DC has a lot of events going on. Washington will have a live concert on the White House lawn with a lot of Anthony Hamilton. Oh my God. I'm telling you, y'all look at the lineup. Biden has a big lineup. And I'm like, Anthony Hamilton? Oh my God. So it's on Juneteenth, but I'll be I'm headed for vacation that day, but it's going to be nice. So if y'all in the DC area, I'm pretty sure it'll be televised or whatever, but y'all check it out or go down. Y'all go down to Pennsylvania Avenue. Look, it's invitation only, but y'all can go by the White House and y'all can hear the music. Y'all can sit out there and watch it from outside the gate and hear the music. But yeah, make sure you guys participate in some things and enjoy the atmosphere. Because July 4th is coming up, so that is not too far from us. So. And I know people still participate in July 4th, and if you do that, that's on you. Enjoy that time as well. Be safe. Next week, you will have the pleasure of having Jada being your host next week. I'm not sure what your topic is going to be next week, but I ask that you embrace her as she become the hostess with the mostest next week. So we'll see how that goes, but I would definitely be looking forward to catching that episode when it happens. But I enjoyed you guys today. If this is your first time checking out Chic Chat Pod, make sure you subscribe. We're on YouTube, IG, and Facebook, and we would love to have you. Our Facebook has a Facebook group. If you're a woman and you're not part of our Facebook group, please join our Facebook group because we do a lot of inspirational stuff in there and little chats in there from time to time. So we would love to have you. But definitely subscribe, and we will have an opportunity to chat with you and reach out to you when doing so. But thank you guys for checking in today. I look forward to talking with you guys next week. And I hope that you guys will tune in next week as Jada will be doing the hosting for next week. So you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And again, happy Father's Day to our fathers. We will see you guys next week. Chit Chat Pod is out where we chat all things women. Have a good Sunday, guys. See you next week.